Hi everyone, I'm Sidney McKinnon, MD and CIO of Cadiz Asset Management, and welcome to another in the series of all things fixed income. I'm often asked the question, where is the value? And to answer that question, I thought I'd answer it with another question. Where is the value in terms of the investment that you are making? And often when I'm posed this question, I answered it in a slightly different way, because I think if you look at value, we first need to define value. What is value? Are you talking about value in the sense of a relative type of term? Because I think value is a relative term. If you are looking at any investment, what is the value of that investment? And I think this goes for whether it's in the fixed income environment, the equities environment, or the property, or whatever type of investment you're trying to make. If you're trying to ascertain value, it's effectively what you are willing to pay for that investment today, based on what you anticipate its value is going to be in the future. And that is what value effectively is. But let's bring it back to this question of what is value, or where is the value? And from a fixed income perspective, I'd like to talk about it in maybe three different components or three different areas. Value is a relative term. So the first thing, if you are making any investment, but let's talk fixed income. What is the value of my fixed income investment, whether it's a money market instrument or whether it is a bond or an inflation-linked instrument? What is the value of that instrument relative to other asset classes? And I think that's the first thing one has got to consider. What is the value relative to another asset class, such as equity or property or money markets or bonds or whatever the case may be? What is the value relative to those asset classes? And I think, as I said, value is a relative term. So it becomes very personal in the sense as to what the value means to me. I think the important thing is to realize, if I'm going to be putting fixed income assets in my portfolio or my investment portfolio, I might want to look at other asset classes as well in order to build that diversification within my portfolio. So it might not have very expensive value, and even expensive is a relative term, or it might not have very cheap value, but I think it becomes very personal in the sense as to what is important for you within your portfolio. And most certainly, all fixed income assets have got value. They've got a value attached to it. Whether it's better than another asset class or not is for your analysis and for you to decide whether it is going to be performing, as I said earlier on, that value that you're going to pay for it today, what it's going to be worth to you in a future time period. So even value has got time attached to it. What is it going to be in the future, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, or even 5 years' time? Am I going to get better value for buying fixed income instruments now relative to another asset class? The other aspect of value that one can look at is, besides being relative to a fixed income asset or a different asset class, is to look at it from a historical perspective. In other words, the value that I attach to a fixed income asset today, is it more expensive or is it cheaper than what it was a year ago or 6 months ago or 5 years ago? So can I attach value to it from that perspective? And having said that, from a historical perspective, do I anticipate that that value is going to increase to levels that I would love to have, looking at a future date or at a date in the future? So historically, is this presenting value to me? And I think that's where one has got to do your homework and decide whether it's going to be good value for me to be part of an investment that has got historical value, for want of a better word. The third sort of area that I'd like to look at in terms of value is what is known as a risk. And I think this is the aspect where often fixed income instruments are considered lower risk instruments, but they've got their risk. It's inherent within any investment. Is the fixed income instrument, is my bond more risky than buying an equity share? Is it less risky than buying a property share? How do I define risk, and what is the value that I attach to that investment. How big or how small should I make that investment within my portfolio based on the risk of my entire investment portfolio? So I think those three things are important. The value relative to another asset class. And I can tell you, there's always value in the fixed income markets. We can sit and become very sophisticated today and look at numbers, but I don't think that's the purpose. The purpose is to understand and answer this question, where is the value? There's always value in the fixed income market, relative to other asset classes, relative to the risk within your portfolio, and also relative to its historical value. And it's very difficult to become timers of the market and say, well, 6 months ago, a year ago, it was a lot more expensive, so I'm going to get it now because it's cheaper. Things can change very quickly, and we do not control the markets. The markets control themselves. It's how we actually accommodate the markets, how we address it, and how we actually implement our investment strategies. So once you've defined value, once you've defined it on a relative basis, relative to other asset classes, relative to its historical value, relative to the risk in your portfolio, then you can choose. So to answer the question, where is the value? There's value in the fixed income market. Just look at those components that I spoke about earlier on. Looking forward to speak to you again at our next session of all things fixed income. So that's it for me for now. Thank you very much.